sorry, my mistake.
Oh,
Senator Hirono
I've had
joined
two
us.
chances.
This is not a three-strike situation.
Mr. Chairman, I ask the following two foundational questions of every witness who comes before any of the committees on which I sit, so I will ask you these questions as a part of my responsibility to ensure the fitness of nominees to take the positions to which they have been nominated. Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, I have not, Senator.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
No, I have not, Senator.
Although I arrived late to this hearing, and I apologize for that, but I had a conflict. You've been asked, I think, by a number of my colleagues to explain what happened in the case in which you represented the school. And so that I am clear, in terms of the question of anonymity of the survivor in this instance, perhaps you could explain why, on the one hand, it is important to protect the name of a minor in cases like this, and what the countervailing arguments are for how you proceeded.
Thank you for the question, Senator. The importance of anonymity is multifaceted. First, using the name of a sexual assault victim has the potential to both either physically place that victim in danger or potentially result in serious psychological harm. There are also considerations that take into effect whether others similarly situated might not feel comfortable using the court system for fear that their names would be used. Those are considerations of paramount importance to the court. If there are other considerations that are balanced to address the second part of your question, the importance of a fair and impartial trial in court is essential. And there's also the need at the jury phase of a case to ensure that witnesses who are testifying feel comfortable about how they're addressing the jurors. But the First Circuit precedent in this case, Senator, that was just adopted in 2022, makes clear that sexual assault victims are an exceptional case, that they should be allowed to proceed anonymously, that if they cannot proceed anonymously, they should have a right at the beginning of the case under the collateral order doctrine to appeal that to the First Circuit Court. If confirmed, that is the precedent I would be obliged to follow, and I would follow it.
That was not the existing precedent at the time of this case.
That had not been the precedent at the time of the case, Senator, which is why we addressed to the federal court in New Hampshire some recent authority from the District of Columbia that the school believed was supporting its position.
So you are going to be on an appellate court, and generally in an appellate situation, you do not see any of the parties that were involved in the district court. And so in every case, however, especially even in criminal cases, there are real people whose real lives are impacted by what the appellate court, what the appellate judge does. And often for these litigants, it's the worst day of their lives to go to court. So how would you, as a judge, keep the real people behind every case in mind as an appellate court judge?
Thank you, Senator. As a homicide prosecutor, I went into court all the time with victims of horrific violence, oftentimes sexual and violence. And I know from those experiences just how important the interaction between a judge on the bench and a victim of crime is. It requires careful listening. It requires an understanding and background in how trauma affects individuals that have been harmed by sexual violence. And so I believe that those experiences in my past have given me an opportunity to see so many judges who interact with victims of crime, assure that their voices are heard and taken into consideration as a judge impartially and fairly ensures that all litigants to any case have an opportunity to be heard and that justice is done based on the application of the facts to the law.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Senator Hirono. Senator